Hello, everyone. Welcome to this presentation from Trinet Internet Solutions, how to pivot your business digital strategy for a post-COVID-19 environment. As we get started, go ahead and comment and let us know where you're watching from. We would love to know. My name is Gregory Suker, and I am the engagement manager here at Trinet Internet Solutions. And with us, we have our digital marketing expert and chief operating officer, Ron Weber. Go ahead and say hello, Ron.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today.
We're very thankful to have you all. And yeah, go ahead, let us know where you're watching from. And we would love to welcome you, say hello. If you're wondering how to comment, there's a little comment box on the right. You can see a screenshot here of what that looks like. I'll move us out of the way here so you could see. So just go ahead, engage with us here. Let us know where you're watching from. So we have Renee from SoCal, Barbara here from SoCal. Awesome. Very good. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We have a very packed presentation for you. You're going to want to make sure you have a notepad nearby, a pen, because we are going to be just blasting valuable information to help you thrive during this COVID-19 environment and beyond. Ron and I have put a lot of work into this presentation, and when we say there is a lot in there to help you pivot your business in a very beneficial way, we mean it. So you're going to want to make sure you take good notes and also stay to the end because we're going to have a very special gift for you. So with that, Ron, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, again, I'm Ron Weber, Chief Operating Officer at Trinet Internet Solutions. A little bit about us. We're headquartered in Orange County, California, and we're industry leading, award-winning, over 100 awards in the last 10 years, full service digital agency in business for over 25 years. We do everything from websites to apps to channels, innovative digital campaigns as well that continue to create industry benchmarks and get people the leads that they need. We have capabilities in terms of digital strategy, digital design, marketing, digital lead generation, of course, digital events as well. And just love the clients that we work with. We have a quick video to show you testimony from one of our clients. His name is Barry McGuire. And so let's roll that video.
Hi, I'm Barry McGuire. I'm the founder and the president of Revival Outside the Walls. Build a global brand in another life. We're visionaries, we're passionate. We've always worked with the best people we could possibly find to get us to where we want to go. We looked around, who's the best digital marketing company we could possibly work with? And wherever we went, we kept hearing this name, Trinet, Trinet, Trinet. And I have to tell you, we're having so much fun working with the people at Trinet. They have so much talent. I mean, we're outside the box all the time, but they're even ahead of us. And the magic that takes place in our meetings, it's just amazing. You know, we're now 2 years into this process and they're no longer a vendor. I mean, they're our friends, our buddies. They're always plussing what we're saying. I love the fact that while they are big and they have these great ideas, they get it. I mean, they fall down in detail to do everything we want to do beyond what we want to do. It's great and easy to have big ideas, but they make them happen. You know, the hotspot for us, of course, is the whole digital world, all aspects of social media. Trinet's building a phone app for us that will blow you away. It is the most exciting digital phenomena I have ever seen. There's internet TV, there's all aspects of new technology coming, and well, we have great people in-house. It is the inexhaustible resources of Trinet that are going to make it possible for us to achieve our dreams. So if you have big dreams for your business, if you want to get new customers online, you want to tap into new technology, sure, you can do some yourself, but you can't do all of it. That's why you need Trinet.
All right, well, let's jump right into our presentation. We've got several topics we're going to cover. First off is COVID-19. What is the impact on business? We've got 7 strategy points to consider post COVID-19. So these are how you might pivot your business as a result of some of the things that are happening with respect to COVID-19. We're going to show you some top resources that we use, and then we're going to have how Trinet can help you at the end, and then a Q&A as well, where we'll take questions from the audience. We've got an hour. We're going to try to wrap up at the top of the hour. And if the presentation goes longer, we will let you know at that point. And if you'd like to continue to stay and watch the Q&A, that'd be great. All right, well, let's start first and go into COVID-19 and the impact on business. Certainly, COVID-19 has had a huge impact. It's all over the news. Of course, everybody's affects everyone. Big changes in society and in businesses, and some of them are likely here to stay. So let's take a look at some short to medium term impact. Certainly, social distancing and handshaking is something that will be with us for some time to come. Masks. Also, a lot of areas are requiring people to wear masks, so that may well be with us for some time to come. We don't know how long that will be. Visiting prospects in person, that's also something that will probably not be something we can do in the short term. So we need to think about how we can reach out to prospects. Trade shows and conventions, many have been canceled. All kinds of live events have been canceled for the reason that people can't congregate and come together. So we need to think about, well, how can we reach people in this new environment? Finally, businesses are certainly impacted financially. Many of you have applied for the PPP grant from the federal government. There's certainly increased customer communication is a must at this time. We have to communicate to our customers and to our prospects probably more than we ever have before to encourage, tell them what we're doing, and provide them with value in this time. We want to, there's an acceleration towards digital and online, and that we see that across the board. Zoom meetings, of course, ubiquitous. Webinars, GoToMeetings, digital events as well are the new way to reach people. So we're going to talk about those a little bit more in a little bit more detail coming up. In-person prospecting. The pandemic is affecting many business types. Businesses are seeing leads drying up. As I mentioned, business conferences and events are either canceled or postponed. Retail and restaurant locations are closed down indefinitely. Maybe some of them will open up in some of the states as they're allowed to. B2B brands that depend on face-to-face meetings are certainly been strained. How do you reach out to people when you can't get together and demo? And then B2C brands or business to consumer brands that rely on face-to-face sales are also struggling. So what of all of this? There's face-to-face networking. Probably won't be a lot of that in the next few months ahead. Annual conventions and events, again, probably not in the near future. And the same with physical customer visits. So what do we do? Okay, now it's time to pivot. Before we do that, I'd like to put up a slide, and we want to ask you a question. So let's see if we can get that survey up right now. And see how long do you think COVID-19 will be affecting you? So let's go ahead with that, and let's see. Perhaps Gregory, you can monitor the results on that for us and report back for us.
Yeah, we've just put up a poll on the screen. If you look on your right-hand side where you're watching, or on your mobile phone on the bottom, you should be able to see a poll there. We're asking, how much longer will COVID-19 continue to impact businesses? Do you think it'll be 2 to 6 months, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 6 years? I see some mixed results here. A little more people think 1 to 2 years. Some people are more optimistic, 2 to 6 months. And one person thinks now 3 to 6 years. Okay, we'll just give you guys another minute to let us know what you think about that.
And while we do that, we'll just set the stage for, we've put together 7 strategy pivots for you all to consider. And to thrive in this crisis, companies really need to think outside the box to change direction, reallocate budgets, and seize opportunities for growth. So first off, there's digital prospecting, and that's a very powerful approach that works if you do it correctly and if you're going about it correctly. And of course, one of the best ways to do that is through LinkedIn. And Gregory, lead us through some of the items we have here regarding LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through the poll results real quick. So we have 12% think that this is going to affect businesses for 2 to 6 months. 62% think 1 to 2 years, and 25% think 3 to 6 years. So the majority think that's going to be in the 1 to 2 years. So you're going to want to take good notes if that ends up being the case, because these strategies are going to help you get through this season. Okay, so networking using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great tool for connecting with people in your industry, particularly now. You might not be thinking that all of the networking and events that you've attended to can actually be done online. It can, and LinkedIn is a powerful place to do that. For all of its members, LinkedIn has categorized, analyzed, sorted, tagged, and saved every bit of data, and you can leverage this data. They've made it available to you to find prospects. For example, did you know that within a 3-second search on LinkedIn, you can find a list of CEOs in San Diego who work in the healthcare industry and have a company with more than 10 employees? That is very, very powerful data that is at our fingertips, and we can leverage that for prospecting for the foreseeable future. And here's how you do it. On LinkedIn, you can go to the search and you can filter with different checkboxes to help you narrow your search result down to your exact ideal customer. And you can filter by location. You can filter by if they're within 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree connections. You can filter by types of companies and industries. And that's something you're definitely want to get to become familiar with as you seek to network with prospects online. And for even more nuance, you can add more filters to find people in your specific niche. For example, you can filter to find business coaches who specialize in healthcare clients. All this filtering gives you context for a conversation, because the more relevant they are to your business or service, you're going to be able to start that conversation with them as they're interested in the same things you are. There's also a LinkedIn Pro account type that you can create. A free LinkedIn account offers limited results and filters, but you can upgrade to a paid premium account, which will give you more data and more search filters, so you can narrow in even more on your exact prospect, and you have more access to the people you're looking for and for who is looking for you. And you can create a LinkedIn profile as a premium account. It's a investment to access more data that is on LinkedIn, and it's incredible for prospecting. And there are different plans. There's the career plan, the business plan, the sales plan, and the hiring plan. We think that the sales account will meet the needs of most marketers, and that ranges between $65 and $100 per month. Just gonna move our cameras right here so we could see this tip. Key tip here, send a connection request to prospects, because LinkedIn makes messaging connections easier than messaging people who aren't connections. To send direct messages to someone who isn't a connection, you have to pay in-mail credits, and a premium account might only give you 10 to 30 credits per month. So you can actually get more messages out by adding more people as connections on LinkedIn. And the more people you have as connections, the less credits you need to reach them, as you do have to get in-mail credits to reach people outside of your network. Another key factor is an essential prospecting tool is the LinkedIn Sales Manager. Again, I'm going to be moving us up, down, and all around this presentation to make sure you guys can see the best view of the slides. A lot of people don't know about this tool, LinkedIn Sales Manager. It's a premium tool that actually gives you 20 in-mail messages per month, which allows you to reach out to people who meet the exact criteria you're looking for, and you can reach out to them without being a connection. You can save up to 1,500 saved leads a month. You can do advanced lead and company search. You can create custom lead lists. You can create lead and account alerts. So when certain leads take certain actions, you can create alerts that notify you. And then you also get even more premium search filters, such as keywords, geographic location by region or state, job titles, company name, company size, company type, public, private, nonprofit, group membership, school, years of experience, or industry. So the Sales Navigator is a really powerful online marketing prospecting tool. And we're going to give you just 6 secrets about LinkedIn Sales Manager that not a lot of people leverage that will help you use this tool to the max. The first one is use Team Link Connections filter to find prospects who have either a first or second degree mutual connection. So when you have a Sales Manager account, you can use what's called Team Link, and it will let you know all the prospects that you've identified based off of your search criteria who have a common first or second degree connection. And when you have a mutual connection with someone, a mutual friend or colleague, that person is 5 times more likely to schedule a follow-up meeting after the initial contact. So it's a really important feature for developing prospects and leads online. The next is Sales Navigator includes in-mail credits, so be sure to use your quota each month, depending on whichever level you get. Use Point Drive to package and present your content to leads. So a lot of people, when they reach out to leads, they'll send an email with a ton of attachments, and that's not really great because it doesn't organize your content in a way that's beautiful and interesting to the prospect. Point Drive is amazing. It actually allows you to take all of your files, videos, brochures, ebooks, everything, and create a beautiful layout that you get to design so that when that prospect sees it, they see all of your materials that will help them in the best visual format possible. Another key feature of LinkedIn Sales Navigator is their insights, and you can use insights to find leads based off their usage and profile information. You can even spy on leads who are looking at your profile. So if you want to see somebody who's spied on your profile, you can notify and say, oh, that person's a hot lead. Sales Navigator Insights will tell you that. One more thing about Point Drive that's a key feature is that when you send files via Point Drive, and let's say that prospect forwards it to someone else, it'll notify you when they read it. So you actually get more insights onto how they're engaging with your files. Number 5 is leverage the interests listed on the LinkedIn profiles. So LinkedIn has these features where people can put their interests on their profile. And that's something that you definitely want to leverage when you're using Sales Navigator or just reaching out to anyone on LinkedIn in general, because you can look at their interests and find common points of discussion and use that as a starting point. A lot of people reach out to LinkedIn prospects without considering the interests of the prospects they're reaching out to, and that's a big no. We want to make sure that we're actually being thoughtful in who we're reaching out to, that we're looking at the interests, and we're using those in our initial message to those prospects so that a greater connection is made for higher likelihood of follow-up and booking appointments. Number 6 is this is a really cool feature that LinkedIn has. They have their own Google Chrome Sales Navigator extension so that when you are in your Gmail and you hover your mouse over an email address link, it'll actually show you the LinkedIn profile associated with it, and that profile will pop up for you to view. So you can continue nurturing and navigating and keeping tabs on LinkedIn profiles well beyond just the LinkedIn platform with that Chrome extension. So these are 6 key LinkedIn Sales Navigator secrets that will help put you ahead of everyone else on LinkedIn who doesn't know about these key features.
And let me just jump in quick with a couple of comments. One is that the more contacts that you have on LinkedIn, the more valuable it becomes to you because it provides more pathways for you to connect to new people. And secondly, Sales Navigator is the cat's meow. That is, you have to get that. It's a great upgrade. Again, I don't get any any commission or anything from LinkedIn, but I love Sales Navigator. The ability to be able to find new leads and prospects and the searches that you can do are just way beyond what you can do in just the regular free LinkedIn, and is well worth the price.
That's right. I mean, I don't think anything gets better than being the cat's meow. So definitely something you want to check out. LinkedIn not only has their Sales Navigator, but they also have very advanced LinkedIn ad targeting. So if you want to be even more intentional at reaching out to more people at scale, you can do LinkedIn targeting, which doesn't require manually reaching out to individual people, but where LinkedIn actually serves your messages to multiple people at once. And you can do targeting based off of many different variables. You can target members of groups in your niche. So if you have a lot of people who are really interested into car repairs, you can target people who belong to LinkedIn groups related to car repairs. Or if you're really into HR and recruiting, you can find groups related to HR and recruiting, and you can actually target people in those exact group names. You can also target executives in relevant industries. You can actually filter LinkedIn targeting by the job type. You can filter by job seniority, by exact job title. Very powerful LinkedIn advertising targeting features. You can also target people with the exact specific job title. So not just seniority. I mean exact specific job title. So that would be something like Director of Human Resources specifically for bankers, or something like that. If you wanted to get all the way down to a very, very niche job title, LinkedIn has tons of that data that you could narrow down to. You could also do customer lookalikes. So when you have a customer list, let's say an Excel sheet of current customers, you can upload that Excel sheet to LinkedIn. They will look at the profiles associated with those email addresses. So any LinkedIn account that is associated with that email, they will look at those profiles, find the commonalities, and they'll generate a whole new list of people that have similar behaviors, interests, job titles, all those things. And then you can target those, and that would be a very qualified list to reach out to. You can also do website retargeting on LinkedIn. So you can put a pixel from LinkedIn on your website, and let's say anyone lands specifically on a web page on requesting a demo or booking a consultation. You can have LinkedIn trigger that somebody has landed on that page and launch a retargeting campaign to people who have not taken action on that page to say, hey, now you can continue that demo. Hey, now's a good time to get that consultation, which is really, really powerful and an essential tool for marketers in this space. There are 4 key components of a successful LinkedIn message. So whether you're doing cold messages via InMail or you're doing advertising, sponsored messages, you really need to have these key components in a message. The first is a greeting and question. So begin your message by introducing yourself right away and asking an engaging question. For example, this would be an engaging question. Are you interested in learning how to get more leads with webinars? Right? That's touching on a key pain point. We want to start with something like that. The second key component of a successful LinkedIn message is offering value. You want to offer a great value, something that they can get for free. So something like a free template on webinars, a training series, a podcast episode, or any other helpful content that you have, white papers, anything. Be sure to ask them if they want that. And if so, have them type yes. Don't put the link in right away. Make them start engaging you for it. That's what's going to really spark that curiosity and have a conversation going rather than them feeling like you're just spamming them with a link. So ask them, do you want to receive something great like a template? And then making sure you're asking permission. Again, doing that invite, make sure they type yes. Just invite them to do that. Just say, type the word yes, and we'll send it right over. And the last thing is just end with no pressure. You could say, if you're not interested, no worries at all. Have a great day. If you do these things, have a introduction, a greeting, offer great value, make sure they have to engage to get that content rather than putting a link, and then you end with no pressure, you're going to be able to build really strong relationships on LinkedIn. So these are the 4 components of a successful message when reaching out to new prospects. Another key tip is after the prospect says yes to receive your valuable content, say something like this. Awesome. You want to make sure that you're showing the excitement that they should have. Awesome. Here's a free link to whatever it is. can't wait to hear your thoughts. And then you're inviting that next step, and you're opening the door for you to drop in another message that's, hey, you got this free thing. What were your thoughts? And then you can work that into scheduling a follow-up appointment to learn how they can do whatever you offered them, whatever free piece of content you gave them, to the max by working with you and your company. And by sending 50 to 200 invitations per day, you can develop a steady system for prospecting. So if you use this message template, if you use the search filters, if you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and you use all these tools that we've done and you're consistent with it, for 50 to 200 messages a day, you can actually develop a systematized process for developing leads without ever leaving the building. And that's what we're really trying to accomplish here. This is an example of a sponsored in-mail ad. And so again, if you don't want to manually send 50 to 200 messages a day, you can actually do sponsored in-mail campaigns where LinkedIn will send messages on your behalf for you. So you can see an example here of a LinkedIn ad. This is Ron actually inviting others to join a webinar. They can click Save My Spot, or they can click Tell Me More. If they click Tell Me More, as you can see, then another automated response comes down from Ron to really encourage them to take advantage of this free webinar. And again, they can click Save Their Spot, and immediately you have a new lead. So now we'll move into other key aspects of digital prospecting during these times.
Absolutely. And once you've made a LinkedIn connection, then it's time to step it up, to ask for permission, pick up the phone, get a conversation going. And that's really critical. During this season, it's really critical to increase your communication both to your existing clients or customers as well as to your prospects. And what we found is that LinkedIn works particularly well even in B2B type conversations, because you can use it for a one-on-one interaction with the buyer or the person who's actually the decision maker. We've found that LinkedIn works exceptionally well that way. And in fact, one of the ways that I personally do, I'll share you a secret of how I personally do networking these days, because there are no networking meetings, there's very little opportunity. I participate in a lot of Zoom meetings, and one of the things I do in a Zoom meeting is I will take note of who the participants are. I will use Zoom to private message those participants that I'd like to talk to or that I have a relationship with, just to connect with them. And I will ask them permission to connect on LinkedIn, and then I'll go look them up on LinkedIn. And after every Zoom meeting I do, I usually pick up 3 to 5 new contacts and friends, and then start a conversation with them. So use those kinds of techniques. Use meetings, online meetings, as opportunities to be able to expand your LinkedIn network. That's very, very important. Next, the next strategy item is developing digital event funnels. Well, that is, and we're going to get into that, the details of that a little bit later. But one of the ways that businesses can now use a combination of digital marketing, of digital advertising, of webinars, and a follow-up in a comprehensive way is to create what we call a digital event funnel. And it starts first with an online ad, as you can see in the picture there, where that would be featured either on Instagram or Facebook or another social media platform, could be LinkedIn, inviting a targeted prospect to attend a webinar. Then the next is there's a landing page. The person will click on that ad. They'll go to a landing page where it will allow them to register for that particular event. And it provides more information about the event itself, when it is, and there's an opportunity then to register. And then once they've registered, there's follow-up emails. They're reminded the webinar or the event is going to happen at such and such a time. They're offered an opportunity to put it on their calendar. And then there's follow-up emails as well. And through this process of first prospecting, getting people into a live webinar or a live presentation, and then doing the follow-up, we have found the response and the call to actions and the conversions on that have been 3 to 5 times higher than if you use any of the items themselves. So if you were just to use email or just to use digital advertising or just to use webinars, but when you put it together in a funnel, it provides a very, very powerful tool for finding and recruiting and nurturing prospects. So what are some other places where you can find prospects online? Well, as we do digital advertising and we do many live events for our clients, one of the key things is, well, how do you get people in the room? Well, you have to use platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, influencers, YouTubes, and referrals to be able to get them in the room. In Facebook, you can use what are called target lookalike audiences, where you can send ads to the right profile of customer. On LinkedIn, you can do target people who are in relevant groups. In influencers, you can invite influencers. YouTube, you can target audiences and channels. And then referrals, of course, you can ask current clients to refer. So what are some important Facebook lookalike targeting audiences? Well, first off, people who have converted into a customer. So that's somebody who has purchased something from you, and you can follow up with them on Facebook and then retarget them. People who initiated a conversation. Let's say they went to your website, perhaps they put in some questions but never followed up, or people who visited the call to action page but didn't actually complete the registration or the purchase or whatever the call to action was. So those are some important Facebook lookalike targeting audiences. And the key is we want to use social media to drive people to your website so that you can get their contact information. It's important that you own your customer list. I would say beware of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Don't let them own your customer list. Make sure that you have a mechanism where you're getting them over and you're getting their email or contact information. If all your customers are followers on Facebook, yes, you can message and target them on Facebook, but you want to own your customer list. And who knows, all of these are public companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Someday they may start charging based on how many followers you have as a business. So right now, proactively get people to come to your website, build your own customer list, and don't rely on other services like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter to manage that list for you. Next item is to invest in your email list. So 3 important. Email is, of course, still ubiquitous, still very important. And the key thing is, how do you grow it in this time? Well, there's 3 main ways you can do that. One is through lead magnets. For example, how to get 800,000 YouTube views in 3 months. A booklet, a downloadable that educates, instructs people, and in exchange for an email address. That's a lead magnet. Second is an interactive quiz. What's your business blind spot? Take the 7-question quiz to find out. So interactive quizzes are another way to gain engagement and ask for an email address. The third is list swaps. Sometimes you can ask someone in your industry to feature your offer in their newsletter, and you can do the same for them. So depending on your situation, you may be able to do to swap lists or leverage other influencers or partners. So what are some email best practices? First off, you want to make sure you're giving value. Make sure your people are enthusiastic to receive your emails. And by adding value, by providing valuable instruction, tips, techniques, giving them advice, that's a way, giving them professional advice, that's a way you can create value. Second is respect your list. Make sure you're developing a relationship, that you're messaging them appropriately. Study copywriting. Transform your messages to help to get them to convert so that they'll call you. 4, know your list. Uncover their pains, their fears, their hopes, their dreams. Number 5, make sure you're segmenting your list so that you can send more personalized and specifically targeted emails. 6, make it fun. Include personality in your emails when you send them out. 7, send more of them. If you're following best practices, people will want to hear from you. 8, automate. Use autoresponders and drip campaigns to automate your emails. And number 9, test. Keep testing, refining, and optimizing. So those are some key ways that you can use email best practices to pivot your business. Next item is, let's talk about pivoting your marketing budget. So item 2, and again, to thrive in this environment, we need to be thinking outside the box to reallocate budget and, again, seize opportunities for growth. So one of the ways that you can do that is of course, think digital. Marketers in the post-COVID-19 era we really have to rethink what technologies you really need, which ones can help us save money, which ones can help you transform your business that has been altered by the crisis. And so some things to consider. 1, many businesses are reducing spend on print, mail, TV, radio, and are leaning in on digital advertising. Well, it's kind of natural. Next is digital advertising rates are now at an all-time low post-COVID-19. I've heard Facebook rates for advertising, even Google rates they're a bargain right now. And what does that mean? That means you can reach more people with the same amount of dollars than you ever could before. And online sales and prospecting are really thriving as a result of that. Next strategy item number 2.3 is pivoting your website. To thrive during this crisis, you have to think about your most important asset. One of those is your company website. And so be thinking about reviewing and or redesigning your website. And you might want to think about that. Now may be the time to update your website, featuring more videos, more content, links to upcoming webinars if you're doing webinars, offer webinar replays, create a virtual meetings portal, and be thinking also about how your website can help your customer. So be thinking about things like journey maps, where you're mapping somebody's journey through your website, and they may not be thinking about your company for a particular product or service, but by journey mapping them, by offering that and walking them through that, you can create new opportunities. So think about redesigning your website and in terms of new products and new services that your company may be offering that it never offered before. Next is 2.4, pivoting your marketing messaging. To thrive, again, you've got to think about how you message to your prospect. So what are some ways that's changing? Well, direct one-to-one marketing messaging becomes an imperative. And that's not only for consumers, but also for business to business. And we mentioned, LinkedIn is a great tool, not only for consumers, but particularly for business to business to network and use it to find new prospects. But you need to be thinking about how do we now use digital marketing to reach business to business prospects effectively. The next is being agile. Nimble marketing becomes the norm. The first to market gets the attention. When you're the first to market with a webinar on a particular topic, or you have a service or a product that companies that are struggling with COVID-19 right now are needing, make sure you're marketing that and bringing that to the forefront. The next is 2.5, which is pivoting to retention. And this is really important when you have a downturn in business. You've got to focus on serving your existing customers exceptionally well. And so focusing on customer communications and keeping existing customers happy and coming back. So what are some ways you can do that? First off, communicate more frequently than you usually would. Make sure in your messaging, you're communicating guidance, clarity, support, and encouragement. Those are important. Provide detailed, actionable information that will be useful to your customers right now to help solve their problems. Inform them of any new policies, products, services, offers that your business is providing to help them weather the storm and help your customers to do the same. Listen to your customers. Sales is at its best when you're helping your customers to succeed. Next, the best cold calls and calls or emails and cold calls are those that are adding value at a time when your prospects need it. Ask yourself what your customers could use or need right now. Then follow through with some valuable targeted messaging. For example, if you've got a product or service that can help remote teams or people who are working at home boost productivity, now is a great time to highlight that solution, or perhaps features specific to solving this pain point. So consider offering special promotions on that product and including those details in the outreach. Next pivot point is 2.6, pivot to new offerings to help impacted customers or prospects. And so how do we go about doing that? Well, here's 3 strategies to pivot products and services. Strategy 1, same product or service, but via a digital channel. And the key question to ask is, can we offer a version of our products and or services through an online channel? An example of that is Nike, which closed nearly 5,000 of its 7,000 directly owned and partner operated stores in China due to COVID-19. Of course, their offline businesses ground to a halt. Online business continued. Their staff engaged with Chinese consumers digitally by offering at-home workouts. And between December 2019 and the end of February, Nike reported more than 35% growth in its online sales in China over that same period the previous year. And as stores began to open across the country, Nike's digital business accelerated even more, approaching triple-digit growth levels. And so Nike now has a roadmap to follow as this virus makes its way across Europe and North America. So strategy 1, same product service, but via digital channel. Strategy 2 is same infrastructure, different products and services. And the key question to ask here is, can we use our existing infrastructure to produce products and or offer services that are in demand now? Example, hotel chains such as Best Western and Hilton have pivoted. They've offered their rooms to hospital staff and COVID-19 patients in the United Kingdom. Some Hyatt hotels have pivoted and they're renting out their rooms for day use, which is very attractive for 2-earner households that want extra space to get work done during COVID-19. The Panera Bread chain, they've aligned to the changed market. They've increased the range of products that they sell from their cafes. They now include staples of groceries along with salads and sandwich in a new Panera grocery service. So here we're talking about same infrastructure, different products and services. The third one is strategy 3, same products and services, different infrastructure. The key question to ask, how can we rapidly increase our capacity to produce and distribute products and or services? So for some companies, handling increased demand for product services has been super challenging. How do you immediately increase capacity? And in some ways, for some, that's possible. Can it be done digitally? You have to ask yourself. Education and trade shows and conventions, they're all going online. Interesting example in Germany, McDonald's staff have been given permission to work at Aldi stores while the fast food chains restaurants are shut. Apparently they're shut in Germany. Aldi had been overwhelmed by demand as grocery shopping had significantly increased, and the employee leasing agreement is for a limited period only, and all those who apply can simply return to McDonald's once their restaurants open. So leasing employees from other industries. So consider using temporary personnel from idle companies to help with excess demand if this is if you're in strategy number 3. Next is a pivot decision matrix. Let's take a look at that. Here's a great way to think through this. So start at the top. Are we struggling because of in our business because of COVID-19? If the answer is yes, then you can ask, well, can we offer our products and or our services online? If the answer is yes, then go ahead and do it. And some examples are retail and higher education. If the answer is no, then can we use our infrastructure to produce products and or services that are in demand? If the answer to that is yes, do it, such as insurance and manufacturing. If it's no, then you can focus on loss mitigation, which is what industries like airlines and tourism have done. So let's go to the other side of the graph. If your business is struggling because of COVID-19, if the answer is no, then the question to ask is, can we acquire infrastructure to expand production of our products and services? If the answer is yes, do it. Examples are e-commerce, logistics, and healthcare. The answer is no. Let's continue to operate as normal while exploring new opportunities. So just a great way to think through strategies. So next off, let's look at point 7, which is a lot of businesses have been saying we need to take our prospecting online, we need to take our events online. And so let's talk about how do you pivot from a physical event to a live digital event. And I'm going to have Gregory share this section with you.
Okay, and one of the first things you need to do in order to pivot away from physical events to digital events is to find your digital outlet. And webinars are live digital events, which are the ideal method for organizations to organize and convey information to a geographically wide audience without the high cost of travel, event productions, and educational materials. They are excellent and a viable alternative to networking and in-person discovery meetings should you want to get your message out there during this time. And regardless of the size of your business, the entry point into live digital events is super easy. It's an impactful way. It's an easy entry point to reach and inspire potential prospects. Here's a little comparison between webinars versus live events from taking your physical event digital. Well, webinars are universal. They can be accessed anywhere by anyone in the world, even from their phone. Physical events are geographically bound. There's physical limitations on who can attend. Webinars are more cost effective. There's low software costs, more means to budget and actually market the event, where a physical event, a lot of your budget goes on to just even throwing the event, high costs of location, transportation, lodging, and marketing. What's cool about webinars is that they can be easily replayed. Webinar software is automatically record the event so that it can be accessible again and again for many, many years beyond the event. Where physical events, you need to get a video production team to record that event. It can be more cost intensive and more complicated to record that whole event. And then lastly, webinars have automated reminders and follow-up that are usually built into the platforms, which means you can follow up with prospects who go through your webinars, who see them, who are registered for them. You can hit them those reminders, whereas physical events, a lot of that has to be done automatically to follow up with people who register for physical events. And solutions for automation aren't as easy as built-in webinar solutions. So that's a little comparison on how to turn a physical event into a digital event and why to do it. Digital events also have pretty powerful features. When looking for your webinar solution, you're going to want to look for these key features. Number 1 is basic video conferencing. Number 2 is a dial-in phone-only option for people who can't access a computer. Number 3 is whiteboarding if you ever need to get out and draw and diagram an idea. Number 4 is screen sharing, so you can get detailed with what you're presenting. Number 5 is remote screen control features if you need to control the screens of others. Number 6 is collaborative annotation features. Number 7 is taking questions. Number 8 is voting and polling, which we did in this webinar. And those are the key features that you want to look for. You're not going to need all of them, but certainly a select few of those you will need, and you'll have to use for your criteria for picking a webinar solution. I'm going to leave this up just for a second if you want to just take a screenshot or take a picture. These are our recommended video conferencing solutions. You can see on the left side, we have internal meetings. So if you're doing things internally with your organization, you're going to want to use things like Zoom, GoToMeeting, WebEx, Free Conference, Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams, Skype, or Uber Conference. And then if you're doing a more public event, which would be like this one, you can do Webinar Jam, Livestorm, Easy Webinar, Crowdcast, Demio, Click Meeting, Webinar Ninja, GoToWebinar, and Big Marketer. So these are some key recommended solutions. Go through, look at what features you need for your digital event, and make sure you find the one that does that. These ones are great ones to start with. An example of a webinar with an influencer. So what's great about webinars is you can get other digital thought leaders involved in promoting your event. And here's an example. Michael Shee, a business owner who sells a course on running a print-on-demand business, decided to leverage an influencer to promote his digital event, to promote his webinar that prompts people to buy his course. So he's offering a digital course, digital training, and running a webinar to sell that digital training. He partnered with Wholesale Ted, who's a YouTuber, to create a video on her channel, and that video generated over 168,000 views to promote his webinar, which sold his product. And now today, this video continually serves as a powerful tool to generate new evergreen webinar attendees. So this is a great example on how you can actually fill your online events up with as many attendees as possible by partnering with digital influencers in the space. A really key tip for working with influencers is you want to make sure this is as easy as a process for them to work with you, which means you want to give them all of your promotional assets in advance. And that includes a promotional timeline, when to post, videos, descriptions, images, text, suggested dates to post, everything. You want to outline everything so you're making it simple and easy for them to work alongside your organization. If you want to go a more ad level approach for promoting your online events, you can use YouTube targeting. What's great is that you can use YouTube to get your videos and promote your webinars in a variety of ways. The first is you can bid on keywords. So you can search for keywords that people are searching for in your space. And when they search those keywords on YouTube, your video shows up, your digital event shows up, and now you are packing that room with online attendees. Another way that you can target people on YouTube is in-market audiences, which Google actually has a list of interests that people have. You can find those interests, the ones that are related to your niche, and Google will target all the profiles who have those interests, and your video to promote your webinar will show up as a pre-roll before other videos that your target market is watching. Another example is custom intent affinity audiences. So this is where you can actually supply exact websites and keywords that your target market uses. And Google will find an audience of everyone who visits those websites and uses those keywords so that you can advertise to them so that they know about your event. And again, you can pack your digital online event. You can do in-stream videos, and that method, you can actually choose specific videos on specific channels. You can hand pick them. So if you know there's a YouTube channel that talks a lot about HR or how to staff a company, you can hand pick those videos on those channels and make sure that your webinar, your digital event only gets advertised on those exact videos or channels. So YouTube is very specific on who you're able to target. You can also do retargeting. So if you want to retarget your email list, those who visit your website, you can retarget them on YouTube so that when people go to your website and go to YouTube, they get re-hit with an ad to join your webinar, join your digital event again, so that we can pack and get as much digital prospecting going. Another key feature is custom intent audiences. This is what I mentioned where you can actually type exact URLs and keywords that your target market searches. So if you know there are certain sites that your prospects visit, you literally just copy paste them. It's super easy. One line at a time, just copy paste them all right here. And you can copy paste keywords that your target market searches, and Google will take this and they will target people who go to these sites and search these keywords. So this is how custom affinity audiences work. And it gives you the ability to get hyper-focused targeting for your events. You can also run these ads not just on YouTube, but you can run them across all of Google's platforms, which include sites that have Google AdSense enabled. And so your banners can show on specific websites. So if you know that your prospects go to Forbes, you know that your prospects go to Google Finance or Yahoo Finance, whatever sites your prospects visit, you can actually run your ads as display ads or video ads on those channels using Google's powerful targeting features. And this is a sample message that you would want to use to get referrals. And this is the message that you would send out. You could say, hey, friend, next week on Thursday, May 28th, Trinet Internet Solutions is putting on a webinar entitled How to Reach Prospects in the Coronavirus Environments. And you can list exactly why they should attend. It contains practical ways that attendees can use to implement to help their business thrive during this time. And then this is the key you have to put in your message. Would you partner with us in helping others through this live online event? And you give them ways to help. Forward this email to an associate, post on your personal pages, tweet or Instagram about it, write about it in your daily or weekly email list with the link. And then you give them the goals, and then you send them all the promotional images. And this is how you can actually leverage influencers and other people in your network to pack your digital events for you. So this is a template that you're going to want to use to make sure that you're getting other people in your network involved and recruiting people to your digital events. You can add a personal touch to your video chats. Everything you do on your digital events, you can add a personal touch by following these 4 key strategies. The first is to use a webcam. You got to make sure that people see you when you're doing anything online. When you can't interact face to face, it's the next best thing we have to be able to see them through the screen. So you need a webcam. You want to position your webcam just so it sits right below the recipient's eyes. And if you have your webcam there, you will be in good shape. Your face will be rightly positioned so that you can have a clean connection with your guests. Then you want to use headphones. This helps you focus on your listeners and drown out any other background noise that might be coming through your speakers on your computer. You also want to treat the webcam as eye contact, right? When you're not sitting face to face and you don't have the ability to look someone in the eye, your webcam becomes your prospect's eye. So by giving a soft gaze into the lens of that webcam, like we're doing right now, you are able to connect, make that face-to-face connection, and actually build stronger prospecting than people who would not be following these tips. The last thing you want to do is make sure that you're minimizing distractions, turn off all unnecessary gadgets, applications, and distractions so that you can add personal touches to all of your prospecting. And before the live conference event begins, there are just some key things you need to make sure you do. The first is log in early, be there ahead of time to make sure you know how to use the tool you're using, make sure you feel comfortable with it, make sure it's all tested and that you feel confident to use it. Then you want to test any other assets that you're using, video, any PowerPoints, any screen sharing that you're doing, test all of that ahead of time. And then you want to make sure you know how to manage attendees and speakers. If you get someone on your webinar or your digital event who's got a mic that they don't know how to mute and they're making a bunch of noise, or they're leaving comments or too much or too incessantly, you got to make sure you know the attendee controls to either mute them or kick them out of the room or delete their comments. You don't want someone taking over unnecessarily. So make sure you learn those features. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you have a user guide already created so that for people who are having a trouble logging in, accessing your event, if you have a guest or a prospect you have a meeting with and you don't want them to give up and leave, you want to make sure you have a guide ready for them to help troubleshoot them if they're having issues connecting. So these are some key things you'll want to do before your digital event or before any digital prospecting meeting. Your ideal setup for any meeting is you're going to want to make sure you have a microphone. Don't use the built-in laptop microphone. It's horrible quality and it's going to sound terrible to your prospects. If you want to close good leads online, use a quality headset. They're not expensive on Amazon. Make sure you have your camera angle right. We talked about that. It's framed at the right eye level. Make sure you have good lighting. There are many cheap lighting kits available, even just single ring lights that you can put up. The newer ring light is a great option. It's one that I'm using right now. It gives a very clean white light that just looks beautiful and actually kind of replicates daylight. You also want to make sure you have your webcam. 1080p is the best, and Logitech has some good ones on Amazon. Also, make sure you are in an area where you don't have a lot of background noises. Make sure the dogs are put away, the cats are put away, the children are put away, the phones are put away. Do not disturb is on. You're going to make sure all those things are on and put away so that you have effective prospecting. Make sure you have a nice background scene. You don't want a messy desk. You don't want windows looking all in rambles. You want to make sure that your environment looks clean and professional like you so that your prospects feel comfortable and building trust and they feel safe working with you and not disgruntled by your environment. I don't even know if that's a word, disgruntled, but it is if you don't have your environment in order. Background activity. You got to make sure that you're not going to have any people come alongside. There's a viral video that happened when a news reporter was doing a video interview and there were people that came in, child came in. It was just a mess. You don't want that to be you when you're prospecting. And you could also use green screens. If you don't have the nicest environment, you can replace it with a green screen, and then your background can be whatever you want. It can be a nice barn house, a field of flowers, whatever you want to give a nice, serene environment. This is what a sample meeting schedule would look like, and you want to make sure that your prospects have this schedule ahead of time. Step 1, welcome your attendees and give participant instructions. So you notice when you join this event, we welcomed you. We gave instructions on how to comment. We said to stay to the end because you're going to get a free gift. You want to do all that at the beginning. Step 2, you want to review your meeting agenda, which we did, going through all the points that you're going to cover. Step 3, conduct the items on the agenda, make sure you're sticking to it and making sure that the attendees are involved. Polling is a great way to involve people like we did in this webinar. And then step 4, end with Q&A. So this is a sample meeting schedule that you can use with all of your digital prospects, with the meetings that you're setting up on Zoom, on Webinar Jam, whatever you're using. This is a great sample meeting schedule that will get you locked and loaded every time you connect with prospects online. You're going to want to make sure you also plan for hiccups and that you're prepared for them. There are things that could happen like computer crashes, and to plan for that, you can have a backup iPad or computer with all of your presentations loaded on that, just in case your computer crashes or something happens. You want to make sure you're planned for internet outages, right? If your internet goes out, you can have a MiFi device from your cellular carrier to have a backup connection. And then also you want to make sure you plan for technology problems. Make sure you have the support number for Zoom or whatever video conferencing platform you're using on hand. The last thing you want to do when there's a problem with their software or solution is be Googling and trying to find their support number in a frant while you're trying to connect with the prospect. You want to make sure you have that right on hand so that you're ready to get on support immediately rather than searching in a frantic attitude.
And what we don't have our audience going into a frant. I like that word. It is 11 a.m. We've got probably 5 more minutes worth of slides to go through, and then we'll go to Q&A. If you so we'd appreciate it if you could stay a little bit longer. So keep going.
Excellent. What could go wrong while you're digitally prospecting? Well, let's say you're having an event like this and not enough people show up. The answer to that is digital marketing. It's email marketing. Another thing that could go wrong is complaints about the event, sound, audio, video. You got to make sure that you have behind the scenes professional assistance. You don't want to be going it alone. You have to build a team who's ready to support you with the technology and the infrastructure that you need for successful digital prospecting event. If you have technical problems during the event, that's something that can go wrong. Again, behind the scenes professional assistance is going to help with that. If you have awkward transitions, you can have an on-screen host and facilitator. If you notice with this digital event that we're having right now, we have Ron and myself, and we're able to help each other and to facilitate conversation and bounce back and forth. That's really helpful for having clean and smooth transitions. And if you're trying to handle everything yourself, again, you got to make sure you have off-screen professionals to help you run your digital prospecting event. And people could join who are unaware of conference etiquette. Their sound is being annoying, or their sound is causing distraction, or there's trolls, or there's people not muted, or there's issues with the speakers. You got to make sure, again, that you have an off-screen professional to handle these situations. And if you're overwhelmed trying to do it all, you can have an off-screen professional to assist. So I don't think we could say off-screen professional enough. It's such a critical part of these digital events because you don't want to be stressed when you're meeting with prospects. They can see that. They can see it from a mile away. Even if they're not in the same room, they could see it through your screen. They can hear it through your mic. You got to make sure you have a professional assistant to give you the best presentation with your prospects so that you're calm, cool, and collected, and you're able to close a lot of deals. And you don't want people getting poor impressions of you. So having that professional help is going to help your events come across very well. Now we'll move on to top resources, our favorite strategy tools that will help you engage in great digital events.
So some great resources for digital strategy that we love. One is BrandWatch. You can get it at www.brandwatch.com. It's a powerful social media listening tool. It's very useful for customer and market insights. The next one is Global Web Index. You can get some great accurate profiling of what people are actually doing online. So a great resource. Google Trends, trends.google.com. Great for insights into what people are searching for, what keywords they're searching on Google. And it's very useful for planning content to reach the audience that you want. Of course, there's Google Keyword Planner, ads.google.com. You can gain insight into user interests, and that also will help you to plan which content you want to go after and which content you want to write and present. And then BuzzSumo allows you to see the most popular content on any particular topic, and that's useful both for content planning as well as for identifying influencers. Well, after all of this, the 7 points for pivoting your business. So how can Trinet help you we're here to help you, and we can help in a variety of ways. So if you've heard all of this and you said, well, that's great, but how I need help to do this, or how can I do this? I can't do this myself. I need help. Who can I call? Well, what we offer is a variety of services that will help you with your business to make your digital pivot. First off, we offer business strategic digital roadmaps, where we can roadmap out where you've been, where you are right now, and where you want to be in 6 months from now, a year from now, and then put in place and the types of initiatives that are needed in order to make that happen. Digital strategy pivot consulting, helping you on figuring out, well, how do I survive in this new environment? How do we move forward? Digital prospecting, we've talked a lot about that on LinkedIn, and using digital advertising and using digital lead funnels as well. Digital advertising, which are part and parcel of that. Email list growth, we've talked about. Email communications, website redesign, live digital events, helping you put on a successful live digital event. So how can Trinet help you? Well, you can try developing and implementing your digital pivot strategy by yourself, but you're likely to get limited success, mediocre results. Instead, we would offer our experts here at Trinet to help you get the professional results that you need. And what we found is that by focusing first, and this whole webinar has been on strategy, 7 points for digital strategy pivot. By getting strategy right, you can get many times the results. And in the next slide, I can show you, it's an example of the difference between being strategic and not being strategic. So in the next slide with the Trinet difference, I show how it works. If you just go ahead with an implementation, you'll get 3 to 5% ROI. If, however, you do first the strategy and the pre-strategy and the strategy, we've seen 300 to 500% ROI. So the ROI target goes way up as a result of that. So again, we're here to help. We hope this has been a helpful webinar. Let's go for some questions and answers.
Yeah, we're going to move on to some questions and answers, and we want to give you the gift that we promised first towards the end here. So if you look on your screen, we are actually making this entire presentation available to you. You can use it as a roadmap to pivot your digital strategy. Now is the time to do that. As we saw in the survey, many people think that it's going to be 1 to 2 years that businesses are impacted by this. So if you want to COVID environment proof your business and pivot, you're going to download this presentation, and it's available on your screen now. And also, if you are interested in working with Trinet, Ron has decided to open up his calendar for a free 1-hour consultation. And as you can imagine, digital agencies are very busy right now during this COVID time, but Ron's calendar is open and he's ready to help. We want your business to thrive. We want your business to pivot. So go ahead and make good use of that offer. We are putting it out on the screen right now. So grab your presentation, grab the free 1-hour consultation by clicking through to our website and booking a meeting with Ron. And we are here to help you. So with that, let's move into Q&A for anyone who has questions, but I'll kick off our questions here. Ron, isn't digital marketing just for reaching consumers? How would we use these ideas to reach retailers or distributors who buy our product?
That's a great question. And digital marketing and webinars are not just for consumers, but we've found them to be very powerful tools for business to business as well. A lot of our clients attend trade shows which have been canceled. And so they said, well, how do we reach out to our customers? And so with webinars and with digital advertising and with tools like LinkedIn, you can actually target buyers, decision makers get them to register for a webinar, then do your webinar presentation, qualify them through the webinar, and then follow up with them afterwards. So digital advertising and webinars are as relevant for business to business as they are for business to consumer. In fact, maybe even more, because there's the ability to be able to have a live Q&A and chat, and people can ask questions. So it's extremely relevant.
Kara asks, how much lead time is needed to convert an in-person event into a digital event?
That's a great question. It depends on the scope and scale of the event. If it's, for example, a quarterly sales meeting, it could be easily converted into a live event relatively quickly. Could be within a day or two, you could get everything set up. For a larger event that involves a larger number of people, let's say 20 to 30 people, and that has multiple speakers, you want to have time to be able to prep the speakers, maybe do a dry run. So that might take 3-4 days to be able to do. A larger event, such as, let's say, a conference or a trade show, that would, because there's so many moving parts there, that could take longer. That might take 3 to 4 weeks to be able to put that all together and to pull all the speakers together and all the different pieces together. So anywhere from a day to several weeks, depending on the scope and scale of the event. Great question.
If you have a really small email list, how can I grow it?
That's a great question, because a lot of clients or a lot of our prospects that come to us have said, gosh, we have not focused on building our email list, and all of a sudden now we can't reach out to we can't telephone or call. We have no way of reaching our prospects. How do we reach people? Now is a great time, and digital advertising is a great time and a great opportunity to use to be able to grow your email list. So how can you grow your email list? You can grow it through digital advertising by having an offer such as a downloadable, some item that would be educational or useful for them in their business. So now creating and doing email growth campaigns now are more critical than ever before, and we can help you to set that up. And so we can definitely help. Even if you have 0 on your email list, we have been successful in growing email lists from very small to thousands in just a matter of months. So give us a call if you have that issue, and we can definitely help you with it.
Sydney asks, how much does it cost to have someone run a digital event for me?
That's a great question. If it's a smaller digital event that would require maybe just somebody to run the event for you, to be the administrator of the system, that could be, let's say, a few $100s. If it's a medium-sized event where you have multiple people dialing in and you have a lot of things to manage, that could be, let's say, $1,000. And if it's a larger event that is maybe like in a conference or a convention, that might be in the thousands of dollars.
And last question, why should I use webinars for prospecting?
The reason webinars are so powerful for prospecting, there's several reasons why. First off, you're able to share the passion of your interest in your product or service through a webinar in a very authentic way, that while you can capture somebody on a video, there's something about that live interaction that is just very unique. Secondly, there's the opportunity for people to actually ask the subject matter expert or the person speaking in the webinar live questions. So there's an immediacy about it. And that's the second point. And the third is when you combine the passion, when you combine the interactivity, and you have somebody watch 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of a presentation, at that point, you've convinced them. If they're staying through that and you show your passion, you end up with a very, very qualified lead, which you can then follow up with. So webinars are important because they produce and create an environment unlike a static video, unlike anything else. There's an immediacy to it. There's the other people that are participating in it as well. That just makes it a much more of almost a community event, but it's an event focused on what your passion is, and you're passionate about your company, your product, or your service. That is just unique in a webinar that you don't see in other mediums. So that's what makes it so powerful. When you couple that with creating a funnel and creating digital advertising to get people into the virtual room to begin with, and then you have the follow-up, you get a very, very powerful funnel that our research has shown gets 3 to 5 times the calls to action and the conversions than if you use just any of the items by themselves. So we recommend using webinars as part of a funnel, a lead generation funnel that can be very, very effective.
Very good. Well, Ron, I want to thank you so much for this presentation and for leading us into a new era for digital and pivoting. And guys, this is your last chance to download the presentation, so make sure that you download it right now. And with that, you're going to want to keep an eye on Trinet Internet Solutions for future trainings that we have. We tend to provide a lot of value in these webinars. Again, download this presentation. Use it as a guide to navigate these next couple years. If it ends up being that, we want you to succeed. We want you to thrive. And we're sorry for how businesses are impacted. We definitely feel the weight of everything that's happening. And we want to see a turnaround. We want to see a pivot, which is what this presentation was made for. It was made for you. So download that, and we will see you next time. Ron, any closing words?
Pivoting is the key to success in this environment. Figure out how you can uniquely provide value to your customers, keep them happy, and you'll do just fine.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone.